Bradford Bulls playing towards a Ruley Lane end in the first half, and Swinton attacking the South Bank Stadium end. No Oscar Thomas today, so Joe Keys gets us underway here at Oslo Stadium. That ball goes deep, collected by Swinton, just shy of their own 10-metre line, and that allows Swinton to have a first run at the ball and Bradford's defence to stand up and be counted. Liam Kirk in there puts on a good hit with John Magrin to bring down the Swinton attacking player. The ball going through hands and Swinton moving it from one side to the other, and again Bradford's defence is asked questions. James Bentley in there with Corey Aston. James Bentley again in there making up another tackle more or less on the bounce with Corey Aston, so them two working well from the off as Swinton move the ball through hands, and that will stay with Chris Ankinson as he looks to get Bradford tested. The kick goes in then on the fifth and last tackle. That's taken by Johnny Campbell and manages to duck under one tackle. We've got a player out there, Mark, with no number on his shirt, so I don't know who that is.
That makes life very difficult, doesn't it, for us?
Unless that's Joe Bretherton, but there's no number on his shirt, so no. That's obviously going to be a commentator's bit of a nightmare. Bradford have the possession. They're now sitting their own half mark, just 25 metres away from their own try line, as they look to get towards the 40-metre mark within the Bradford half. And play continues here at the Provident Stadium, Mark.
Yeah, Bradford Bulls so far so good, just feeling the way into this game, and a good run there down the centre field. I think that's from Colton Roach, is it? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And the Bradford will bring it to this left-hand side. Corey Aston, a kicking game. Corey Aston just needs to split the fullback and the winger, and he didn't do that on that occasion. He gave it right down the fullback's throat. The fullback took it well, Jack Murphy. And Swinton are attacking, for me, too far upfield. Not the best kick from Corey Aston.
Yeah, well, Jack Murphy took that one well.
He did take it very well. Yeah.
That will be the first penalty of the afternoon, awarded to Swinton, as Bradford trailed offside. So Swinton will lead the penalty count early on. As I look at the Providence scoreboard, and it still says Bradford 0, Swinton 0. Swinton with the first penalty, kick that deep then. That will see them now start play deep within the Bradford half on the 40-metre line, as Bradford now start to defend. Damien Sirenen in there with James Bentley wrapping up the first Swinton attacker. The ball now sits centre field with Swinton. Bradford looking at the referee. The referee today is Greg Dolan. I think it's his first game in charge of a Bradford fixture here at the Providence Stadium. And again, Bradford have been asked questions here by Swinton in the opening stages of this game. And we've had 4 minutes on the clock on the Providence scoreboard then. So the score still 0-0. Swinton sit on the Bradford Bulls 10-metre line. Scotty Moore getting through some early work there. What will Swinton do here? They'll look to go across the park, put ball through hands, asking questions over on that far northern terrace side there of Josh Rickett and Johnny Campbell. But Josh Rickett and Johnny Campbell up to the test, bring the Swinton player down. A little kick through there. That will see a bit of indecisiveness from the Bradford defence, but that will then see Brandon Pickersgill run the ball dead to give Swinton a first dropout of this game, Mark.
Yeah, it was a very good kick from the Swinton player. It bounced on its point and bounced upwards, and it meant that Scotty Moore couldn't check it back over the line so easily because it held there. If he'd have left it, Swinton player could have damned it and scored a try. So that forced a dropout, which is what you want to do. And the dropout went some 48 metres, but Swinton have it back, and now they're on tackle one, 30 metres out from Bradford try line.
So Swinton then with possession. Player with no number. That's all I can describe him as, Mark, because I think it's got to be Joe Bretherton. But
I think it is Joe Bretherton.
Yeah,
we'll confirm that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He certainly looks like a Joe from.
Well, I know the skin at Swinton, but no number on the jersey. That's a little bit ridiculous, isn't it? But
it certainly is. Swinton then stayed about 8 metres out from the Bradford try line as Josh Woods, wanting to get through some work here and get his runners, get his forward pack sorted out. He's joined by Ben White at pivot. A gap opens up. That will see Luke Waterworth race away. He's held up, Mark, on the fifth and last tackle. I thought that he was nearly in there as the gap opened. The little looker of Swinton opened his legs. A little kick across the park here will test Ilias McCarney. That will see the ball go out for a second dropout. And I think Bradford have got off lightly there, Mark. Two chances that they were very, very quickly, wrapped up. Well, and a little bit of luck there, Swinton were in.
Well, the linesman on this side, on this left-hand side, as the Swinton Lions attack the Coral Standard in their traditional blue and white strip, he was right on the spot, and that's a credit to him. because I thought the Swinton player had got that ball down cleanly. So Bradford Bulls really let off twice. They've got to get the ball back, and that all came from Corey Ashton's kick that didn't seat right. You've got to split. You can't put a kick down the throat of the fullback who's on the tilt. What I mean by that is he's running straight back at you.
Well, Luke Waterworth then feeds Joe Bretherton. Joe Bretherton takes a drive to get Swinton up into the 20-metre line of the Bradford Bulls half. Swinton still have possession, still looking for a little chink as they move the ball again quickly through hands. Where will it go? That's a little bit of a drop pass that allows Bradford to regroup. The referee said it's forward. I thought that he dropped that mark, but obviously he must have dropped it because it's gone forward in momentum.
Yes, it has indeed.
A let-off for Bradford. That's a first error of the afternoon from Swinton, and that will see Mark Bradford have some possession finally after we've played 6 minutes at the Provident Stadium Odsal, and the score on the Provident scoreboard still says Bradford 0, Swinton 0.
Well, the shouts that get them on side are a familiar shout at any rugby league game, but I tend to agree with that. It's a bit of a pet thing of mine with referees. It's easy to slate referees, but getting people on side is more important for me than any infringement that they play the ball. And the referee's not having it, but Swinton are crabbing offside, and there's 2 or 3 of them in front of the referee. But if he doesn't look left and right, then you won't see them doing it.
Well, Mark, you can see there they are clearly offside. And now the referee does actually ping the whistle and say, yes, 3 times I sold you, 3 times I watched you, you didn't come back on the 3rd one. So that then will be a penalty to Bradford, a relieving penalty that will see Bradford get inside the Swinton half as Johnny Campbell taps the ball and has a little run there prior to his forwards being made aware. Scotty Moore then looking for runners. He will hit Damien Sirinen. Damien Sirinen will take a good drive here. He's supported by Liam Kirk, but the knock on there as hands in from Swinton will see Bradford come up with the error. I think it was Joe Keys, Mark, that knocked on.
Well, the problem was, to be fair to Joe, that Damien Sirinen was a fabulous go forward, a typical Aussie forward. He'll look to offload it every time. He's a big unit. He turned, but because he's not been at the club long, because the pass wasn't quite right out the back door, Joe Keys had to bend forward, and he couldn't really blame Joe for dropping it, but it was a forced effort, and I would have, maybe with Damien on this occasion, if I was 2, I'd say, unless it's really on, Damien, don't do it.
So play continues then here at the Provident Stadium Odsal. Swinton have the ball. Swinton up to their own 40-metre line and still advancing towards the halfway line here on the 2nd play of this set of 6. Luke Waterworth then in at hooker. Luke Waterworth will fit Andy Braycheck. Andy Braycheck offloads in the tackle to Joe Bretherton. Joe Bretherton manages to keep going. He's met by 3 Bradford tacklers, Damien Sirinen, Scott Moore and James Bentley in there to bring him down. Although Swinton now quickly moving through hands. Chris Hankinson there over on the far stand side. He's taken out by what the referee here deems as an head-eye tackle, which will give another penalty to Swinton, their 2nd of the afternoon. And Bradford coming up with the penalty mark in a key area when Swinton will now look to punish Bradford with this opportunity in their attacking set.
Well, you would say so far in this game, if you were marking it as a boxing match, that Swinton have been on point so far, because they've been a little bit more enthusiastic. Bradford need to get the ball. You can't score when you haven't got the ball.
Well, again, Joe Bretherton there takes a forward pass. The referee says no, play on, and Jack Murphy comes into the line. Jack Murphy will try to edge his way towards a try line. He's held up about 2 metres short now as Swinton spot a little gap. That will see Luke Waterworth try to bury his way over. He's held up over the line, so the play will come back 10 metres and restart on the 20-metre line. Swinton are certainly looking strong here, Mark. Certainly trying to find gaps within this Bradford Bulls defence. Scotty Moore then looking at the referee as a little play, breaking play here, Mark. The referee stopped the clock. I think that is John Magrin that's down there with a bit of a knee knock. So, Mark, what can Bradford do here? They've certainly got to get out of the starting blocks with some line speed.
Well, the line speed's going to be good. They've got to hit that a little bit harder in the tackle for me, and I've said that all season. I think we're just a little bit lightweight in our defence. They're going to get the ball back, and then when they get the ball back, they're going to really punish Swinton with some good angled running. on the last tackle, the option's got to be good. You can't pump the ball down the throat of a fullback. You just can't do it. You're going to split the fullback and the winger.
Play continues then. Swinton will look to attack the Bradford 10-metre line. The ball quickly moves from the main stand side towards the Northern Terrace side there as Swinton again asking questions. Bradford have got to get out here quick in the attack. That opens a gap. That will see Swinton score and post the first try of the afternoon. Bradford then found wanting over on the Northern Terrace side, Mark, and again it's been on the cards. Johnny Campbell then and Josh Ricketts not really getting an understanding over there, and that sees Swinton score for the first try of the afternoon here at the Provident Stadium. That means the score stands Bradford Bulls 0, Swinton Lions 4.
Well, what happened there was Swinton moved the ball from left to right very, very quickly. The Bradford defence moved with it. They didn't move forward, they moved sideways. They planted the feet. I say this time and time again in every commentary. They planted the feet on the line. You've got to commit yourself, go out and take a player out. Didn't do that. The Bradford Bulls players thought the pass was forward. It possibly was. But you play the referee's whistle. The referee and the lines were having none of it. Bradford Bulls demonstrating almost as before the try had been scored, which is unprofessional. You've got to wait till the referee makes a decision. Just play to the game. But you know, Peter, as well as I do, you've got to move off the line. You've got to take a player out. You've got to hit him hard. It's bravery. It's tough. It's the toughest game in the world. But you can't. It's either yes or no, one thing or the other, commitment or non-commitment. If you don't commit, the likelihood is a good pair of hands and a good pass will put a try up your jumper, and then you're behind the 8 ball, and that's where we are now.
So we wait for the conversion attempt then for the Swinton Lions. Mark, was that Sean Robinson that touched down there?
I thought it was Sean Robinson, yes. There was a hint of it being a slightly forward pass, but you just played the referee's whistle, Pete. You can't, can you? You know.
So the conversion attempt comes in then. That's a miss. So the score will remain on the Provident scoreboard. Bradford Bulls 0, Swinton Lions 4. We've had around about 30 minutes played here of the first half, and Bradford now will restart the game with Joe Keys. Bradford really have got to now put some pressure on this Swinton team, kick the ball deep, come up with an error, and let's see. Corey Aston will get the kick going, and let's see if we can keep Swinton in their own half, Mark. I can only think, Mark, so far in the first 13 minutes that we've been in the Swinton half once.
That's all.
The rest of the play's taken place.
It's all taken place in the Bradford Bulls half, yeah. We've not been up there at all, and the start we said the Bradford Bulls need hasn't happened, but there's a long, long way to go yet. But, you know, all credit to Swinton. This is a team that's not got any money. The rumours about whether they're going to get paid, not a new coach, which often have a positive effect. It looks as if it has so far.
It certainly does. So Swinton then will look to come away, currently on their own 40-metre line, and again Andy Braycheck now gets involved with the line, linking with Rob Laver. Rob Laver manages to get Swinton up to the halfway line. That will see Luke Waterworth then go in at Hackton half. Luke Waterworth will play the ball across. That will be kicked deep, taken by Ilias McCarney. Ilias McCarney will then start a run across the pitch. Again, we saw this last week, Mark, where instead of going forward, going sort of like left to right, which not making any yardage whatsoever. Swinton still remain offside, as you can probably hear.
Yes, but the problem is, you can see our forwards can't gain 5 metres with a drive. Too young, too inexperienced. You've got to run hard and strong and tough out your defensive area, and you hear the fans now shouting for offside. Yes, they are offside of Swinton. The referee's allowed to hand. Well, what do you do to sort that out? Well, you've got to use your loaf and hang back another 2 metres and run in numbers. Running in ones off the ruck is no good.
Well, it's very, very scrappy. The fans are certainly not enamoured with the refereeing decisions of Greg Dolan there on that set of 6 for Bradford. Bradford kick deep then on the last tackle. That will see Swinton. That will see Swinton now awarded a penalty for Bradford being offside. So, for an head-eye tackle.
Head-eye tackle, yeah. It was a bit of a half-attempted tackle at the head, which is why we lose him, because if you tackle people around the head in rugby league, you'll injure yourself, or they'll run through you like a man running through tissue paper, and then you often give a penalty, which the Bradford Bulls have done.
So Luke Waterworth then gets us back underway here. He will look to feed Andy Braycheck. Andy Braycheck takes a little bit of a drive. He's out wrapped up by Colton Roach and James Bentley then. Sorry, Josh Ricketts in the tackle. Josh Ricketts certainly getting through some work early doors, as is Liam Kirk. and John Magrin. Swinton then now make their way up to the 20-metre line of the Bradford Bulls as they will go in search of further points here at the Odsal Stadium, Bradford. Joe Bretherton is held up in the middle of the park. That looks like a bit of a head clash there for Damien Sirenen and Joe Bretherton. The physios come on and the water carriers come on. Damien Sirenen scratching his head, holding his head. I
think there's a bit of blood there and a bit of claret maybe, and I think he just caught a loose arm or a loose boot or something from, is it Andy Braycheck? No, it isn't, it's Bretherton we think.
Yeah, Joe Bretherton, yeah.
And Bradford having to defend and just not looking like they've got off the, well, I can't say get off the bus because they're at home, but they've come out of the dressing sheds. Well,
play continues then, and this could see Swinton going a touch as they go in search of a second try. The Bradford defence there, Willie Tonga certainly managing to stand up there with Ilias McCartney, managing to get the Swinton attack into touch.
It's a good job we did, Pete, because they threw that ball very quickly to the right-hand side. Obviously they see that defensive side of Bradford very weak, the left-hand side, and they're attacking that right-hand side, and I thought that was going to be a try. So that was the experience of Willie Tonga there, helping with McKay to keep them out.
We've probably seen in the past, Mark, where in situations like that well and truly could have been a try. But again, Willie Tonga, for all his experience and gal there, showed the tram line on the far side,
the tram line.
And left him nowhere to go apart from into touch.
That's what the young kids don't always do, and you defend the tram line. It's easy because you can use that as a marker line, and he did, and he pushed him into touch. That was good. Bradford Bulls will scrum down, Pete, on the 10-metre mark, and let's hope they can do something with this.
So the ball goes in a scrum, it comes out, Scotty Moore feeds Damien Sirenen. Damien Sirenen then manages to get the Bradford Bulls on the front foot here. Swinton Lions still offside, much to the annoyance of the crowd here in the main stand, as James Bentley manages to take a little drive and get something going here. We now see Joe Keys hit Ross Peltier, who's come on the subledge. Ross Peltier makes some great yardage there up towards the halfway line in his first drive. Welcome to the game, Ross. And Damien Sirenen then comes on, beats one, takes another drive there, taken by a few little shots around the face there. Fifth and last tackle, Bradford just inside the 40-metre line of the Swinton half. That will see Corey Aston put a nice high kick. This will be a tester. Although the Swinton Lions player has managed to pick it out of the air, he races away, does Mike Butt, but the referee has stopped play, and he will now bring the play back as he's awarded a penalty to Swinton for Bradford being offside. Mark, what a great kick, but what a disappointing end.
It was a disappointing end because it was a great kick, and you know, I'd like to see Corey Aston just put the ball over the back of the Swinton defence and make them chase, because the only reason I say that is because they've fielded every high ball very well so far. But
yeah, he's certainly put a few of these kicks up high, and like you said, there's not been any length on them.
No,
you know,
that's the problem, Pete. You've got to, if you can't get the, you know as well as I do, if you can't get the, you better off getting length if you can't get 100% accuracy, because it's just a time thing. It takes longer to get back out of defence. It gives you the attacking line to get, the defending line back into the faces of the attackers.
So Swinton then on the 40-metre line of the inside the Bradford Bulls half will look to push further forward. Damien Sirenen then getting through some more work with Scotty Moore in defence. Liam Kirk comes in, as well as Scotty Moore again to wrap up the Swinton attacker there. And again, Mark, Swinton looking lively as they manage to claw their way now around about 17 metres away from the Bradford Bulls try line. They'll still attack the far stand side. That's a bit of a loose pass. The referee stops the play then and will hand the ball over to possession. That was the fifth and last mark, and again Bradford managed to nullify. I think the loose pass certainly helped there. Willie Tonga will get the game underway. That will see Ross Peltier now take his second drive of the afternoon. The Swinton attackers again still offside as Bradford march up the field, managing to get just shy of the 30-metre line. Scotty Moore then works his magic, feeds James Bentley. James Bentley on the 40-metre line. The play is quick. They get up and play the ball quickly as Bradford look to set something up. The ball goes to Willie Tonga. Willie Tonga is met by two Swinton tacklers, and they bundle him into touch mark.
Well, that's that's frustration. I think Bradford are trying to force it because they're behind on the scoreboard. A little bit frustrated with the play so far. And 60 metres upfield, the ball goes to Willie Tonga on the tight left-hand side, not much room to manoeuvre, and they ended up getting bundled into touch. But you know, the thing is this, and it's my pet hate in rugby league, it's the worst offence a team can cause. It's worse than a little bit of biff. It's worse than holding on to play the ball, and that is crabbing offside. But if you crab offside at the play of the ball, you're altering how the game momentum is. Now you can hang deeper. The referee's poor at the offside. Swinton know they're getting away with it. And guess what you do? How many times in a game did you, Pete, when you were playing? You thought the referee wasn't going to watch you offside. I would shoot out the line very quickly because I wasn't the fittest in the world. So I would definitely play offside. And if I thought I could get away with it, I would do it.
Well, Mark, I've got to agree with Ed. We see Damien Sirinen going off. I don't think he's fully recovered from the head knock as Sam Hallis enters the fray for the Bradford Bulls. We wait for the referee to get the play back underway. Play will resume on the 40-metre line just inside the Swinton half. Swinton will have the ball. They will now look to set something up again as Jack Murphy comes into the play, and he's wanting to liven things up. He's certainly getting busy, Mark. He's certainly got a few little steps and a few little hand shots within his locker there. Bradford then, what can they do here? They've got to get out. They've got to get out quickly, and certainly meet the likes of Rod Laver there taking that drive, which is great because Bradford managed to push Rod Laver back there, and that was a good tackle from Sam Alice and Liam Kirk to keep Bradford on the front foot. However, Swinton retain possession here. Corey Aston in there tackling for what he's worth with Brandon Pickersgill. Swinton then with the ball around, well, centre field on the 30-metre line within the Bradford half. It's the fifth and last tackle. What can Swinton do here? That will see Luke Waterworth take a high kick. That's taken by Ilias McCarney. Ilias McCarney.
That was well taken as well.
Yeah.
Now this is the bit where Bradford really struggle. If I can just explain the scenario there, Pete, we're on our 10-metre mark. You're going to drive out. It's times like this you need a three-quarter to help out the forwards, but you've got to run straight.
Willie Tonga then. Willie Tonga feeds the ball back on the inside to Johnny Campbell. Johnny Campbell races away. Bit of afters there then from the referee, which the referee says play on. Bradford now advance. They reach the 30-metre line with inside the Swinton half and awarded a penalty, and it's getting a bit tasty out there. We see one or two fists going, Mark.
That's right. That's because the referee's not in total control of this game. A referee, like a boss, like a wife does when you've been married about 3 months, dictates the play, dictates what you're going to do. Dick Hay was going to happen, and she becomes the gaffer. The referee's going to become the gaffer out there on the field.
Yeah, well, Liam Carberry there wanting to mix it up, certainly with Sam Alice. Bradford then will get the play underway as we see Ross Peltier play the ball. He's all just on the 20-metre line. What can Bradford come up with here? Corey Aston feeds the ball to Colton Roach. Colton Roach then is brought down just inside the 10 metres of the Swinton team. Bradford get another penalty for interference at the play of the ball, and Scotty Moore takes a quick tap. That will feed Sam Alice. Sam Alice makes a little dart for the line. Jimmy Laws-esque there, Martin, that run, but Bradford still a metre short of the line. What can they do here? Joe Keys then feeds the ball out. The ball will find its way to to Willie Tonga, I think, on that far side, and Willie Tonga is wrapped up. Bradford then still have the ball on the fourth tackle as the ball goes back. It's getting a bit scrappy. I think Ross Peltier there knew that it wasn't going to go anywhere, so he just sort of like looked to throw the ball any way that he could, and Bradford had awarded a penalty. The referee is now bringing the captain of the Swinton Lions team out to him. He's having a word there, and he's certainly saying, right, you know, that's 3 penalties on the bounce, and I'm going to, well, I think he's warning him, Mark, that they've got to stop it, otherwise it's a team warning and somebody's going to walk.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he was saying, yeah.
Yeah. Corey Aston then flips the ball to James Davis. James Davis then knocks on. When Bradford were in a vital position, it's a bit of deja vu, Mark. We've seen this far too many times.
It happens every game, 4 and 5 and 6 times a game. Poor old Jeff Tuvey, the guy that's been at the top of rugby league, and he sees a simple move go to ground because of a lack of concentration. Look, it happens at all levels. It happens at international level, but it happens too much for the Bradford Bulls, and that's why a team like Swinton have had the pressure put on them for the last 10 minutes or so, but there's been no points. They're relieving pressure through a mistake, and Jeff Tuvey will be livid about that, but that's part and parcel of being a coach at the Bulls at this moment in time.
So you're listening to the Big Match Live then here on BCB 106.6 FM, the home of live sport in Bradford, brought to you in association with Provident, supporting Bull supporters home and away. The score on the Provident scoreboard still reads Bradford Bulls 0, Swinton Lions 4, as Swinton will look to get some forward momentum here, managing to work their way just over their own 40-metre line in the centre of the park. Scotty Moore tackling for all his might there with Sam Alice, and Bradford still on the back foot as the fifth and last tackle is signalled by the referee. Swinton then will go to Luke Waterworth. Luke Waterworth will put a high kick. That will test Brandon Pickersgill. Brandon Pickersgill at fullback then will bring that out, and he's brought down on his own 20-metre line. Waiting now for play to resume. Josh Ricketts then in there at acting half to take a drive while he's waiting for his forward pack to get organised. Manages to make his way to his own 30-metre line. The ball still moves out to the northern stand terrace side. That then sees James Bentley take a bit of a drive, and James Davis then follows that up by a little bit of a interlink play as he's tackled. Just Bradford now struggling to get out of their own half. A little kick there from Corey Aston will split the Swinton fullback and his winger. That will then see Jack Murphy tackle. Jack Murphy manages to offload in the tackle to Mike Butt. Mike Butt then is brought down, and the touch judges come on. Well, that mark showed a bit of rim and a bit of vigour from Bradford.
It did, and I like that, and I wouldn't penalise that. But the trouble is, the linesman's come running on. Isn't it a problem? Isn't it a shame the linesman come running on when Swinton were offside? Because you've got to do everything. Now that was a big hit, but that's right. That's what Bradford. We don't want to see anybody injured, but that's what Bradford should do more of. Unfortunately, it's going to go against them with a penalty. But the linesman saw it straight away, come running on.
I'm sorry, Mark, but he's given a red card there.
Oh well, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
And that will see.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
A Bradford player, I'm just waiting, is that Johnny Campbell, Mark?
I'm not too sure.
That he's sent
I think it's is it Sam Alice? I'm not too sure.
No, Mark. No, right. No, I think it's Johnny Campbell.
Well,
as he's walking to the.
Well, controversy reigns supreme here at Odsal.
Johnny Campbell then has been sent off here at the Odsal Stadium.
And amazingly, the Swinton player gets up, and we won't want to see anybody injured, but there was nothing. Look, it was a bit high, that tackle, but how can you be sent off when there's been other tackles that in other games, and I know we're talking about today's game, that didn't warrant a sending off, but somebody's got a red card. We're going to find out who it is in a second. The linesman came running on, and he obviously thought it looked worse than what it was in actual fact, didn't it? It looked a lot worse, but it's on the 10-metre mark of the Swinton line in front of the posts. And
well, the crowd are not happy with that, Matt, and they've every right not to be happy with that. You know, that's seen Bradford reduced now to 12 men onto the park.
Who's got off? I'm not.
Johnny Campbell.
Johnny Campbell, right?
Johnny Campbell has been sent off for what the referee is deeming a dangerous tackle, and again.
Well, Gary Ord, if you're listening, Tenerife and everybody else, we're going to need a miracle now because we're down to 12 men, and we've got a referee who doesn't understand the offside rule. And Johnny Campbell's not a dirty player. If you put in a tackle that's illegal, then you deserve to be sent off. But that wasn't. That was touch and go. Was that? That's a bit harsh. And in games this season, I've seen those happen many times. And the referee just given a weird play on, or even given a penalty. That's all.
Well, Bradford have got it all to do in this half now. Then, as Swinton managed to make their way deep into the Bradford half. They now sit a few metres shy of the Bradford Bulls 40-metre line, and Swinton again looking and asking questions of these 12 men wearing the red, amber and black of the Bradford Bulls here at the Provident Stadium. That will see a little kick go up into the eye from Ben White.
Well, and Brandon Wilkinson's knocked that on, and Swinton are loving this because, quite frankly, the tails are up, and if you ask the question, who's got the motivation? Well, I'm very sad to say that it is Swinton. Swinton Lions want it more, appear to want it more, and we've got some controversy. You don't want games like this to be decided by refereeing decisions, and it might not be in the end. But you know, it was a. When you've got young and inexperienced officials who probably haven't played the game, this is the problem you have, because they work on reaction and emotion and not on experience. And to me, that wasn't a sending off offence. But Johnny Campbell's gone; he'll take no more part in this game.
Well, Brandon Pickersgill then obviously playing at fullback today, Mark, and he is, you know, he has come up from the academy.
Yeah, he's nervous, and you could see he was nervous there.
Now that's got to be a knock on. And Swinton there trying to one-man the referee, but fortunately for Bradford, James Bentley was in there, and James Bentley managing to ruffle the feathers of Jack Murphy and Chris Hankinson. So that certainly helped Bradford there. That will relieve a little bit of pressure as "Come on you Bulls" goes out around the Ordsall Stadium Bowl, and certainly the Bradford Bulls need to find something here. And looking over to the far touchline, it looks as if the excuse me, as if Damien Sirenen's going to come back on, which is neat. Now we've got a little bit of biff in the scrum.
Yeah.
We did speak about this, Mark, when we opened.
I'll bet it's Barlow if he's on the field, and has he just come on? I think I'm not too sure, but you know, it's the referee's losing a little bit of control of this game. There's some frustration from Bradford because everything's going against them, and when you're down, you're down. But that's the time to stand up and be counted. If I was a young man playing in this Bradford Bull side at the moment, and everything's against you, you have absolutely nothing to lose. So when you position yourself under a high ball, you've got to take the high ball, and you've got to, if you've got the skill to come through the academy system, if you've been a county player as a schoolboy, you should be able to catch a football. You should be able to do that at 13 years old. You shouldn't have to be protected from doing that when you're 19 or 20. You've got to stand up and be counted. It's a tough rugby league game, played by men, not played by boys, played by men.
Well, the referee has called Sam Hallis and Andy Braycheck to him here.
Andy Braycheck, yeah.
Yeah, now Andy Braycheck was in the centre of that. So was Rodri Lloyd, the second rower for Swinton. And there was certainly one or two things marked there that were, you know, seeing one or two biffs and boss. We've seen Josh Barlow come onto the part, and Josh Barlow again, he'll want to mix it up wherever he can, because again, Mark, he's not a naturally gifted player, but he's an aggressive player.
He is an aggressive player.
Yeah. And we see Bradford get a penalty for Swinton being offside, and again Swinton, rather than giving the ball straight back to Bradford, making Bradford go get the ball. The referee really is not watching this.
Well, he had his back turned. He's not. Yeah. The lad is very inexperienced. Look, he isn't dropping off tackles. He isn't dropping bombs. He isn't not running hard enough for the leg drive. The players for Bradford are. But what he isn't doing, he isn't in control of this game. And you know, he's got to get control of this game.
Colton Roach wrapped up by 3 Swinton tackers. Ross Peltier goes in there to try and get his team on the front foot, manages to fall just shy of the halfway line. Sam Alice then. Sam Alice feeds James Davis. James Davis goes one way, drops the other, manages to beat the line. He's then wrapped up by 4 Swinton defenders. That's a lovely little leg drive from James Davis, the big man there, managing to get Bradford on the front foot, as Bradford now will go searching and looking for something just shy of the 20-metre line. And Sam Alice then saying, come on ref, you know, let's get up. Joe Keys there in at the pivot. He feeds James Davis. James Davis will remain the ball centre field. 5th and last tackle. Can Bradford get anything from this? Let's see what happens as this develops. Joe Keys then will put a little dink kick over the top of the Swinton's defence. That will see Swinton wrapped up on just 1 metre out of their own try line, and now we see a punch thrown in back play. The touch judge hasn't come on. The touch judge now comes on after the Swinton players speak to him. Mark, it's all on here at Ordsall. We see plenty of biff, then the players coming together.
It was a punch thrown by a Bradford player, and it wasn't a bad jab either. It was a good one. It decked the Swinton player. But why did the linesman come on when the Swinton players had spoken to him? Because he had not seen that.
He'd not seen that at all,
That
Mark.
is inexperienced. That's not acceptable in a rugby league environment like this is. And that's something that you see in about Division 6 of the Pennine League.
Well, that to me saw Damien Sirenen, and to be honest with you, Yeah, he threw a good jab. I think Floyd Mayweather would have been proud of that one. But I also think, Mark, that the way that the Swinton player, Liam Forsyth,
all the drama stuff. It's a BAFTA award, is that? Yeah, it was a BAFTA award. They know that they know the Swinton players can smell this referee's not on top of the job, right? And they know they can all man him, and they will do everything they can. The two linesmen are very inexperienced and don't really know what they're doing either, and that's the problem. And this is what's going to happen. Well,
he awards Swinton a penalty. He's telling Sam Alice to go away, and all he's basically said is that he's given the penalty for pushing, Mark.
Right.
And if that's pushing, then I'd like to see what he does when he does.
It
really,
was a punch from a Bradford player. To be fair, the Bradford player did want penalising, but why did the linesman not see it? The Swinton players had a word with him, and he ran on.
Unbelievable scenes.
Fantastic stuff here, fantastic stuff. Brought to you in association with Provident, supporting Bull supporters home and away.
Well, I'm really enjoying this one, Mark, and it's got a bit of brim and a bit of fire and a bit of passion. And now Bradford are going to have it all to do as Swinton come on the attack again. They now managed to make their way up to the halfway line, and Colton Roach is in there in a tackle with James Davis. As Swinton, for all their want and might, are certainly looking to ask questions of this Bradford defence. Andy Braycheck then goes in again. A little bit of a swinging arm from James Bentley. Let's see Andy Braycheck, manning the referee. The ball bounces off of Damien Siren on the fifth and last. Swinton then making their way back as Corey Aston and James Bentley go on search of the Swinton attackers. That then is wrapped up by Josh Ricketts on this main stand side, as Swinton will kick deep to try and relieve the pressure. That will go to Brandon Pickersgill. Takes that lovely, does Brandon, and Brandon manages to make his way to the 10-metre line. This needs Scotty Moore or an experienced player of his ilk to get hold of the Bradford team now, Mark, and settle them down, because if he doesn't, this game is going to explode.
It is. I would bring Amari Caro on, and I would say to Amari Caro, don't you dare jiggle and twist and turn like a dancer. Just run hard with all the speed and power you've got, straight at the hole, run at the hole, bring us out. All you do is bring us out defence every time we get pinned back in the corner.
Well, James Davis then, getting up from the tackle, manages to knock on, and again, that hands advantage to Swinton as the scrum will form just shy of the 30-metre line deep within the Bradford half. One or two Bradford players, hands on hips, looking a little bit dejected, Mark, with that set of play. And as you say, Scotty Moore really does need now to rally his troops and pick them up. So does Sam Alice. He's in there at this moment in time. He's speaking to everybody, geeing everybody up and saying, come on lads, we've got to dig in deep, we've got to find something here within the locker room to repel this marauding Swinton attack. As Swinton go on the hunt then, and Rodri Lloyd then takes a drive. The referee has stopped play here for a water bottle that's on the park. And again, Mark, it's scrappy, it's not flowing. There's been a bit of biff, there's been a bit of guile shown from Bradford in defence, and the 12 men of Bradford, Mark, are managing to stand up to this Swinton team. But Swinton, for all their prowess, Mark, are certainly wanting to mix it at every opportunity they attack the Bradford line.
Indeed. 5 minutes to go this first half as well.
Swinton then on the 10-metre line will look to find an opening as Josh Woods
got the overlap.
Yeah, Josh Woods found the gap, threw the ball after he created the gap, threw the ball out to Liam Forsyth. Liam Forsyth and Mike Butt then switching off, and the ball going in a touch, which will relieve the pressure on Bradford. And Bradford now have got to finish this half the stronger, Mark. The score on the Provident scoreboard still reads Bradford Bulls 0, Swinton Lions 4. Any other team, Mark, within the division that we've seen over the last few weeks, I think they would have certainly posted a few more tries against this Bradford team. Now, that's not taking anything away from the Bradford defence, but Swinton haven't been anything near as creative, been able to take the advantage.
No.
And that's got to be good for Bradford.
It has got to be good for Bradford. The only thing I'm worried about, as far as Bradford's concerned, when we're driving out of our own defensive area, we're getting no momentum, no meterage going forward. We've either got to pass the east to west. We can't seem to, it's been the tail all season, 5 metres either side of the ruck area. We don't seem to break away and gain 30, 40, 50 metres with our sets. We don't have the venom and the snipe and the power to bust through defensive line with good leg drive, and we're having to pass sideways and backwards and all sorts of stuff. And until you can control that and get that sorted out, you're going to struggle to win most rugby league games. Look, we've had 2 tackles, we'll be backwards from where we were.
Yeah, we've gone back, Mark. We started there on the just shy of the 40 metre mark, and we've gone backwards, Mark, to nearly the 20 metre mark as Joe Keys got pushed back there on that tackle. 5th and last then for Bradford. And again, we see holding down in the play there. Amari Kara is now on the park, and Damien Sirenen was shoved out of the way. That's a little bit of a tester here for Mike Butt. He's chased in field, manages to offload and come up with an error. Bradford knocked the ball back. That will see the ball fall into the hand of Ilias McCartney. The referee's going to pull it back for a knock on, and he's going to give the sweep to Swinton there.
Well,
unbelievable, Mark. Absolutely unbelievable.
On the back of his jersey it says Specsavers. He wants to go there tomorrow because that ball I mean, that ball, how can that be a knock on from anybody? That's just absolutely incredible, and just not on top of the job at all, the referee, just not on top of the job at all. And that's going to make the game interesting, because he's going to make it, I'll tell you what it will do, it'll set the adrenaline pumping in both sides, because both sides will get frustrated with it and up the adrenaline levels. When the adrenaline levels are at the best, then your players tend to play better. So in one respect, although an ironical one, the referee might cause the game to be played at a more frenetic pace than it would normally have been.
Well, Liam Forsyth then takes the first drive for this Swinton outfit. That was closely followed by a second drive from Chris Hankinson that will see Swinton progress towards the halfway line over on the far northern terrace side. Swinton then managing to just get over the halfway line, wrapped up by Damien Sirenen and Ross Peltier was that Swinton attack. However, we see Swinton put the ball through hands quickly, and Mike Butt will look to turn Brandon Pickersgill around. Brandon Pickersgill manages to knock the ball dead in goal from the little kickover from Mike Butt. Inventive play from Swinton, good understanding and good positional there, and good defensive play from Brandon Pickersgill, managing to knock the ball dead. But very, very quickly, Mark, Swinton have gone from one end of the field to another in what, 4 tackles, Mark?
It's the tail of the season. Unfortunately, the opponents of the Bradford Bulls all season long have been able to go from their own 20 metre mark to the Bradford Bulls line very, very quickly and with ease. And until that stopped and that showed up, then you're always going to struggle to win any rugby league game.
Well, Corey Aston then kicks that deep. The ball is returned from Swinton. They managed to make their way deep into
forward pass.
Oh, it's on here now, Mark. This is getting it. Their forward pass. Yeah. Rough and tough tackle there on Liam Carberry as he's pinned down to the floor. The ball then is still managed to be retained by Swinton, but Damien Sirenen is up in the ante with Ross Peltier. But thanks to the Swinton players complaining, Mark, the referee now comes in and gives them another penalty of the afternoon. They will then say, right,
we'll go for 2.
We'll go for 2.
Yeah, because they're going to get the ball back as well, and it's about 18 metres out, virtually slap bang in front of the post. Yeah. Sam Allen's talking to the referee, but he won't let him talk to him because he's not the captain. He's sending him away. You've got absolutely no chance with this referee today. What you've got to do is you've got to play well enough to keep a big enough gap between our team, the Bradford Bulls, and Swinton, because the referee's not going to listen. He's not in control of the game. Unless somebody says something, match official, look, that was a shocking first down from you, step it up, then it won't alter. Waste of time talking to him, quite frankly.
Well, we're deep into the final minute of the first half. This is probably why Swinton have decided to go for the kick, Mark, because they know that there is virtually 15 seconds left on the Provident clock as I look towards the Provident scoreboard. Swinton will run the clock down, wait for this penalty to be kicked from Chris Hankinson, and he squares it up. Mark is looking. The hooter sounds in the background, signalling half time. Chris Hankinson strikes the ball, then that goes through the sticks to push the score on the Provident scoreboard.
And the way to keep on the ball is keep the mistakes to a minimum and the last tackle option to be better.
Jack Murphy then will get us underway here at the home of the Bradford Bulls, the Odsey Stadium. That will see the ball kick deep. The ball goes to Damien Sirenen. Damien Sirenen takes the first drive of this opening second half. He manages to get his way over the Bradford Bulls 10-metre line. That will then see the ball go from Corey Aston to Ross Peltier. Ross Peltier busts the first tackle and manages to get over the 20-metre line, but there's a little bit of afters and a little bit of niggle there with the Swinton players again starting this half as they finish the second half. Sam Alice is brought down and pushed by excuse me, by his opposite number to the floor. Bradford now kick, and again the kick goes deep. That will return the possession back to Swinton. Swinton then managed to make their way up just shy of their 20-metre line in the opening stages of this second half. Bradford again having to tackle, go in search of an error as Amari Caro and James Bentley in there tackling for all their worth. James Bentley doing a double tackle set there and managing to now wrap up Rodri Lloyd. 3 straight tackles, one after the other. They're helped out by Willie Tonga. Willie Tonga then wearing his shiny pink boots mark on his home debut here at the Provident Stadium, Odsall. I'd like to see him do something now, Martin, really get involved for the size of him. Again, 5th and last tackle then. Swinton will kick the ball deep. The ball will go to Brandon Pickersgill. Brandon Pickersgill will return that then. Bradford still obviously down to 12 men. Johnny Campbell sent off in the 25th minute for the spear tackle on the Swinton player. Be interesting to get Jeff Tooby's thoughts on that at the end of this one, Mark.
It will indeed, and the frustration that Jeff Tooby has been put through this season must be almost unbearable for him, but he never shirks an answer, does he, when you ask him a question? No.
Amari Carey then gets us up to the halfway line. The ball will then go through hands. That will see Ross Peltier still wrapped up in a tackle. Brandon Pickersgill comes into the play, linking him from fullback. He's given quite a bit of a facial there from the Swinton players, but Bradford still have the bob on the 40-metre line. And a little drop out pass there. Sees Willie Tonga step back, step one, step inside. Willie Tonga throws the ball over, and if that had been collected, it was 3 RY time for the Bradford Bulls. But unfortunately, Amari Caro misread that mark, couldn't take it in. Willie Tonga then showing his expertise. Now he's down injured. I think he took a knock after he offloaded there, Mark. I think the Swinton player came in and smashed him around the face by the looks of things, Mark, because he's down and he's out of it.
Well, why wouldn't you? Because he's probably the most dangerous man on the Bradford field. New to the team, so the moves don't always come off. He's not trained with us for a very long period of time. Would that have been a forward pass anyway? I'm not too sure. But the break and the footwork was fantastic, and that's how you break the Swinton defence down. When you're quality as a player, it's easy to win games because, you know, Carl Allison, as I said, he's sat along the bench here away from me. You're only as good as your cattle, and I think that's right. You're only as good as your quality, and Willie Tonga's a quality player. If he gets more chance to do more with the ball, and he's down injured, so let's hope he doesn't go off. But it'll just be another piece of war in the catalogue of wars this season for the Bradford Bulls. I mean, well, you could argue that Amari Carroll should have moved a little bit further inside. Yeah. You coached and you played the game. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've got to track your attacker. You've got to track and get nearer to him and call. It's about communication. It's about calling. And just to sit and stand there and hope the ball might come to you is a bit weak from Amari Carroll. If I'm being critical, and I am being critical, because Tonga had opened the gap, should have got a little bit further in, shouted for the ball, got a bit in there, because the Swinton defenders had their back to Caro, and he's big enough to power his way over from 5 metres. So that's a slight criticism, but well, the size
of Amari there, Mark, rightly as you say, you know, he should have been looking there. He saw Willie Tonga go inside, and that took 2 of the Swinton defenders out of the play. So what Amari Caro should have done, he should have read that and positioned himself. There was one Swinton defender stood, so rather than sort of like aligning himself with that Swinton defender, the gap was there. He'd only got to move 2 or 3 steps inside, pick up the ball, and the gap was there. His pace inside would have taken him over.
Exactly, and that's quality of play, it's quality of thinking, and it is difficult when the guy inside you is a quality player. He's new to the club. You've not played together. I do appreciate that, but you always track the centre which way it goes and shout for the ball and run at the angle. Rugby league's like chess. It's like maths. It's about angle. People, excuse me. Well, people say it's a simple game. It isn't a simple game. It's a very complicated game. But if you master it, it's a game which is a fantastic game.
Well, Willie Tonga's back on his feet. He's going to go off for the concussion test, Mark. The physio there signalling that certainly took one round the head. I had a little bit of a bad feeling there, Mark, because obviously we saw Dane Chisholm come back to the club and make a fantastic return to the club and then go off injured. And I thought, is it going to be the same repetition here with Willie Tonga as he's led from the field? But it looks, Mark, that he's up, he's walking about, but it is a concussion type injury that hopefully may see him come back onto the pitch within 10 minutes. Scotty Moore comes back on then as Willie Tonga exits. The referee's not happy with the scrum. He's telling for Swinton to pack down, and he's telling Bradford now, come on, get on with it. Swinton will feed the scrum then. They'll look to open things up on this near stand side through Chris Hankinson. Chris Hankinson is brought down by James Bentley and Joe Keys. Swinton then go centre field with Liam Carberry. Liam Carberry is wrapped up there, and again Damien Sirinen in there to help the likes of Ross Peltier and Sam Alice in the tackle. Third tackle then. Swinton managing to get the way slowly but surely up towards this halfway line here at the Provident Odsal Stadium, as now we see Joe Bretherton just sort of like wanting to get involved a little bit more and take a few drives. And certainly ask some questions of this Bradford defence. Fifth and last tackle then. Swinton on the Bradford Bulls 30-metre line. The ball will go through hands. That will see Josh Woods put a little kick up. That is still the last tackle according to the referee. The kick goes over the top from Josh Woods again. That will go dead. One or two boos ring round the Odsal Stadium then, Matt. I think that they're from the Swinton fans. Swinton again messing about, Mark, knocking the ball out of Ilias McCartney's hands when the ball were dead, and the referee and the touch judge just let that happen as Liam Forsyth over on that far side, Mark, absolutely just knocked the ball. They weren't even on the pitch, Mark. No,
well, the Swinton are trying everything they can to win this game, and to a certain extent there's nothing wrong with that, because there's two sets of factions that can stop Swinton doing that. One, the Bradford Bulls, and two, the referee, and neither are doing it.
Well, Mark, you, like myself, you've played here, and I look at this now, and that is a tip tackle and a spear tackle from the Swinton Lions. Now, that tackle earlier on in the first half saw Johnny Campbell exit the field, and yet the referee here, Mark, has just signalled, given the penalty, and not done anything, not even gone and bothered and spoken to the Swinton players. And if this is inconsistency, Mark, from refereeing, then again it's something that the powers that be at Red Hall and the referees, leaders and Mr. Stuart Campbell certainly need to be looking at and getting this sorted out within the game. That should be a team warning now. Damien Sirinen again spun round, legs lifted up, Mark, and again another penalty to Bradford. When is the referee going to pull this Swinton team to one side and say, come on, I've had enough, team warning, the next one's gone?
I don't think he is, because I don't think he knows how to. Unfortunately, he's lost control. And, the psychological battle has been won by Swinton. But Bradford Bulls can still win this.
Well, Scotty Moore then took one again for his troubles around his chops from Luke Waterworth as he took that drive, and we'll now see Sam Alice trying to work something and edge his way to the line. Falls around about 3 metres short of the Swinton try line. Scotty Moore feeds Ross Peltier. Ross Peltier will twist and turn. He is held inches short of the line, Mark. I thought he'd gone over there and he would have been held up on his back, but he's managed to keep inside the field of play, as we've seen Corey Aston take a little chink, drop the shoulder, drop the footwork, but the Swinton defenders on the fifth and last tackle wrap Carrie Aston up there. What can Bradford do? The ball will come out to Joe Keys. Joe Keys will kick to this corner here. Bounces, sees Damien Sirinen score his opening try of this campaign, and that, Mark, should now be enough to get the Bradford Bulls on the front foot and certainly take this game to this Swinton outfit. Swinton there looked out of sorts, didn't really have a clue. Amari Caro came in, he managed to sort of like disrupt Jack Murphy as he went up for that kick. The kick came down, that bounced, and Johnny on the spot, the saviour of the day has got to be Damien Sirinen, the Aussie signing, touching down for his first try here at the Odsal Provident Stadium.
Yeah, well, that's now the Swinton Lions 6, the Bradford Bulls 4, the Swinton Lions 6, with the kicks that come, which should be easily kickable for Corey Aston. The thing is that I noticed that Swinton were very, very slow to spread the line, and they were bunching a lot in big numbers around the ruck area, and the fast to play the ball will beat Swinton. The kick over the top from Joe Keys found the Bradford defenders. They jumped up, they out-jumped to the Swinton defenders, the Bradford attackers out-jumped the Swinton defenders. The ball bobbled along the floor. I'm not sure that Sirenen got that down cleanly, but I'm not bothered. Doesn't matter.
Well, Corey Aston kicks that one, Mark, to bring it to 6 apiece, and it's game on here. Mark, I was going to say to you just before we saw that try scored, I've played in teams where we've been down to 12 men or even been down to 11 men, and we've gone on and got a victory because we knew that we weren't going to be beat. Come hell or high water, we were going to stay on that park and make sure that whatever they'd given to us, we were going to give them it back double. Well, you've got to be in the same position.
You've got to be in the same position, that's exactly right, and that's what makes this game such a great game, because you can do. And the way they beat Swinton is they're not as fit as Bradford, I don't think. They box in numbers around the ruck area, and if you can get some quick play the ball out from Aston out to some runners around the ruck area on the third or fourth tackle, you'll beat this team. You'll beat them because they tend to stand a bit square, but you've got to get out your own defensive area like they have now first of all before you can do that.
Well, Bradford then will look now to come back up the park. They're currently on their own 20-metre line as the ball goes to Damien Sirenen. Damien Sirenen puts the ball to Joe Keys. Joe Keys to James Bentley. James Bentley half manages to drop the shoulder and get through the little gap. He's then brought down again, which the referee just looks at and says play on. Ross Peltier will force his way to just shy of the halfway line, and again getting plenty around the head for Ross Peltier. Damien Sirenen then will go on another barnstorming drive. Damien Sirenen, since scoring that try, has certainly rejuvenated. Fifth and last tackle then, Scotty Moore's out to Corey Aston. Corey Aston with a little lip chip kick there, Mark, that will see the Swinton player turn round and manage to get up there to the Bradford defenders and bring him down a metre short. And for all intents and purposes, Mike Butt did not like that tackle from Scott Moore, and Corey Aston started throwing a few punches there. Bradford now certainly getting up here and certainly getting these tackled in Colton Roach. And
how far's the referee checking Bradford back? He's back about 20 metres, isn't he? Or is it me? Can I not measure things?
No. Well, he's certainly giving it. That's a huge 10 that he's taking him back, Mark. That's a huge 10. And now he gives offside. How can there be offside, Mark, when they're at least 15 metres away from the play of the ball?
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely unbelievable, in fact. I can't find words to describe that piece of refereeing there. Was absolutely garbage, to put it bluntly. And the Bradford Bulls are going to have to do more defending now. They're going to have to do it the hard way. But I was just about to say Damien Sirenen from head and shoulders on the field in terms of forward prowess. I think he's the Bradford Bulls' best forward by a country mile.
Well, we've had 50 minutes played here at the Provident Stadium, Oddson. The Provident scoreboard reads Bradford Bulls 6, the Swinton Lions 6. Swinton in possession. Chris Hankinson trying to get his team forward here as just in front of the main stand. Swinton then will move the ball centre field, and again they'll try and find gaps. They'll try and find the extra man overlap, the spare man that they've got. This looks threatening. Beats one, beats two, and that will see Swinton score. And Mark, again, what the Swinton team managed to do there then was move the ball very quickly from one side of the park to the other, put it through hands. That saw Bradford Bulls stretch, and at the crucial point we saw the Swinton players, Sean Robinson, step in, Mark, and flat beat the Bradford defence there, Mark, for pace, which then allows Swinton to score their second try of the afternoon.
Well, to be fair, that was good football by Swinton because it went through 3 or 4 pairs of hands. They ran at the Bradford defenders who had their backs turned to Swinton, and they had to have because they run out of numbers. And Jack Murphy made that for me. His footwork back on the inside, the push off the left-hand foot was good onto the right-hand foot. Then the flick out the back door was nice, and it's sad for all the effort Bradford put in. And you've got to say the referee possibly created that because he took Bradford back 20 metres almost, and then he said that there was an offside to play the ball. I can't absolutely believe that, but going to be interesting to see what the rest of the excuse me the pundits, I'm choking because I can't believe what I've seen, the pundits have got to say, and the coaches, about the referee. Of course, Little, if they win this game, he's not going to say anything, is he?
No, he's not going to be. I think he's going to be delighted for his charges, and he's certainly going to be happy that they've managed to come to Wadsall and beat the Bradford Bulls. We wait now for Chris Hankinson then to take the kick here, and lines it up, strikes it. That goes straight through the sticks to push Swinton out. to 12 points now. So the score on the Provident scoreboard now reads Bradford Bulls 6, the Swinton Lions 12, and Bradford, for all their effort and endeavour, undone by some very, very quick hands and some very, very inventive play from the likes of Luke Waterworth and Josh Woods. This Swinton pair certainly been the major threat here today against this Bradford team. Corey Aston then will get us back underway here, and that goes deep. Taken by Josh Woods. Josh Woods then feeds Josh Barlow. Josh Barlow is brought down just over his own 10-metre line by Ross Peltier and Sam Alice there in the tackle. Swinton then with the ball, still sat just shy of their own 20-metre line, now trying to get something going. A little scoop from the ruck area there by Ben White. Bradford looking to get up here and meet them, certainly trying to get some line speed going here, Mark, in defence as Swinton will come forward. Josh Barlow then with what looked like a bit of a forward pass. If it hadn't been for Carlton Roach and Damien Surinan being there in defence to take that one, then Bradford could have been in any trouble. Brandon Pickersgill takes the ball from the kick on the 5th and last tackle of Swinton. He will race away and manage to get Bradford up to their own 30-metre line. Amari Caro then, for the size of him, comes in and manages to step one tackle, but he's brought down by a further 2 Swinton tackles here, and we now see the ball going through hands. That now sits with John Magrin. About 20 metres in from the northern stand terrace side, Joe Keys then switches the play back inside. It's Scotty Moore. Scotty Moore goes one way, turns back the other, and doesn't manage to get anything away. Brandon Pickersgill in there quickly. Ross Peltier onto Damien Surinan. Damien Surinan turns in the tackle. He's still going, he's Damien. He will edge his way to the 40-metre line. 5th and last tackle then for the Bradford Bulls. What can we do here? Corey Aston will kick the ball high. That's a fantastic kick. That should split Jack Murphy and his winger Sean Robinson. Sean Robinson picks that one out of the air and manages to bring it away. That will see Swinton up to their own 20-metre line. Damien Surinan and Ross Peltier there in for the tackling stint again. Mark, what did you think about that sort of play from the Bradford Bulls?
It was okay. You know, with 12 men, they'll be tired. They're chasing the game. Swinton are up for it because they've got a new coach, and I'm hoping that Bradford can just do something special. I think it's going to rely on one person. I think it's going to be cometh the hour, cometh the man, but not at the moment because Surinan's tackled a Swinton player, and the referee's going to what's he going to award now? Just 10 metres into the Bradford half, in the centre of field. I think it's going to be a penalty or something against Bradford, is it?
Well, to be honest with you there, Mark, I think as Damien Surinan went in, he clashed with Ross Peltier, and Ross Peltier, his ankle looks to have gone, Mark, from the injury they picked up at Halifax a few weeks ago. They're not even bothering Mark, they're taking him straight off the park here.
They are.
So I think that as he's gone into the tackle with Damien Surinan, whether he's been caught, caught on the ankle as he's gone in there with Damien Surinan, as they try to bring down Joe Bretherton in the tackle there.
That's just unfortunate. That just shows you the look that the Bradford Bulls are having, because if it wasn't for bad luck here at the Bradford Bulls, they'd have no look at all.
They'd have no look at all. So that now sees Ross Peltier then leave the park with hobbling on that ankle that he seemed to pick up, like they say, the injury the other week at Halifax. Swinton then put the ball again through hands, trying to stretch this Bradford defence from one side of the park to the other. They sit on the 30-metre line inside the Bradford half, and Andy Braychek then will take the drive. Andy Braychek then managing to remain centre park here at the Odsall Stadium. And then we see Swinton again do the little run round, bringing Jack Murphy into the play. Chris Atkinson then in at standoff at pivot. We'll see the ball go to Luke Waterworth. Luke Waterworth then feeds Josh Woods. Josh Woods on the little run around then is brought down. He feeds Andy Braychek. Andy Braychek goes down in the tackle. Little kick there for trying to beat Bradford over the top, but nothing on there. So now Swinton are looking at it. Andy Nicholson there now in at the acting half. He will then feed the ball through. That will see a little kick placed through towards the Swinton line. That's collected by Brandon Pickersgill. Brandon Pickersgill then quickly up to pay the ball. Joe Keys in there, gives the ball to to James Bentley, as we now see Damien Sirenen going off the park in the back play, Mark. So what can Bradford do here with a ball in hand? Swinton again looking to slow the play of the ball down at every opportunity.
Well, that's down to the referee to sort that out. He hasn't done, so the likelihood he's not going to do it now. Bradford on the 20-metre mark and not getting a lot with their sets, but they've got to come up with something special. It's going to be a scoot out of half-back, having to kick from their own 30-metre mark down the throat of Jack Murphy. So he's going to return that kick and get tackled, probably only about 25 metres upfield from where he took the ball.
Well, the good news is here that Willie Tonga has come back onto the park, but Bradford have lost a major player there as Damien Sirenen's gone off on, and he looks down, he looks on his haunches there as he's at the side of the pitch. He's not moved since exiting the pitch.
No.
And we see there Andy Braycheck giving quite a bit of a facial there to Sam Hallis and saying, right son, if you want it, you can have it. You know, I'll give you it all day long, and that's just exactly what
Andy
he did
Braycheck
there.
will, and you know, one of the biggest problems Bradford have had all season is we haven't got money on our side that'll do it back. And until that happens, we get some more fearsome forwards, and we're going to struggle week in, week out. Rodri
Lloyd then manages to fall just a few inches short of the line. Swinton still with the ball as they approach the Bradford 10-metre line. A little kick through there from Josh Woods. Doesn't manage to find his intended target, and that will see Bradford now get the ball. Swinton there were offside, Mark, but again the referee does nothing to bring them back.
He's not going to do it now at all.
No, and James Bentley then not managing to make any yards whatsoever, because Swinton at every single play of the ball on this set of tackles have been offside. Amari Carroll is brought down. Scotty Moore then tries to get something going with Joe Keys. Joe Keys to James Bentley. James Bentley times his pass perfectly to Willie Tonga. Willie Tonga then offloads inside to Brandon Pickersgill, and that was a great piece of play on the fifth and last tackle. Joe Keys, Scotty Moore to Corey Aston. Corey Aston then little chip kick trying to find Ilias McCarney, and that will bounce back infield. Ilias McCarney will try and get something going. He's bundled into touch over on the northern stand terrace side. That will see the referee call the scrum and give heaven feed to Swinton. And Mark, we saw then the play quickly go from one side of the park to the other. Willie Tonga again managing to cut back on the inside and try
with a little bit more, with a little bit more ability, a little more thinking in the game to run off his shoulder. They hasn't got that.
No support.
Nothing there at all. The young kids and the younger, less inexperienced players, the players who lack that quality, just don't know what to do, and that's the problem. Willie Tonga had opened that up. If he had a good head, off his shoulder, there would have been some more pressure put on the Swinton defence, even maybe some points.
So we now sit with Swinton having the ball deep in their own half. The referee's going to do that for a high tackle there. A bit of a lazy arm from Joe Keys, and that one that the referee certainly didn't miss. He's going to give a penalty there, another penalty to Swinton. And when Lady Luck's not smiling on you, Mark, Lady Luck's not smiling on you.
Well, you've got to try and make it, and the way you make it in rugby league is by doing the hard yards. We're now going virtually to the last quarter of the game, about 21 minutes to go, and the programme brought with you, of course, by Provident, supporting Bull supporters home and away.
Scotty Moore and James Bentley then go in for the first tackle. A little bit of afters there. It is going to kick off. I can see it coming, Matt. And again, there's some finger pointing. There's a few punches going in that tackle as well. And Swinton Lions certainly saying to the referee what is happening here. And the referee now will give Swinton, Bradford Bulls the decision that Swinton knocked on in the tackle. Swinton was certainly rattled there, Mark, which was good to see from a Bradford point of view. The biff was coming in, Mark, and again, this Swinton team, when they get a bit of biff back, they certainly they seem a bit hesitant.
Well, they do. They've got Gregson, number 10 there, who's not the biggest number 10 in the world. He wanted to go toe-to-toe. Well, what should have happened was a Bradford forward should have said, right, we'll do that, wait till the referee's back's turned and drop him on his backside. That kid then would give up, he wouldn't do it again because you could see he didn't want it there. But they're taking the law into their own hands because they know they can beat the referee.
Well, well, what you actually saw with James Bentley there, I mean, James Bentley's still a young lad, you know, and I like James. He's got a lot of character about him. He is a level-headed kid, and he's not what I would call a dirty player, but James Bentley stood up to him there and said, right, you know, if you want to give me one, I'll give you one back. And then from that instant, you know, it then seemed to get a bit scrappy. Again, we see now 3 tacklers in on Amari Caro, Andy Braycheck one of them, and again, Mark, all round the head, and certainly trying to unnerve this Bradford attack.
Yeah, indeed, and I think that's been the tactic from Stuart Littler and his men, right from word go. Unfortunately, we've not had a referee that would stop it.
Well, Sam Alice as well has taken one in the ribs there, Mark, as well, from his little drive forward, and Bradford certainly being put through the ringer here, as we see James Bentley beats one, spins and turns, manages to get to the 40-metre line within the Swinton half. And now, what can Joe Magrin do here? John Magrin there manages to get a few yards. Fifth and last tackle. It's for Bradford to do. Joe Keys puts a good kick up there. That will certainly turn the Swinton defenders. And Omar Caro is in there. Sorry, Willie Tonga is in there, Mark, to nullify the Swinton attack, as we see Jack Murphy again coming into the play, wanting to get Swinton onto the front foot, and again Bradford switching off, Mark, allowing Swinton some extra easy yards. There one Willie Tonga and Amara Caro in on the tackle. Swinton now just over the 20-metre line in their own half, and Liam Kirk comes back onto the play. Liam Kirk with Scotty Moore managing to put Andy Braychick down to the turf here at Odsal. Mark, again, wrong decisions at vital times. Would you say that that's contributed to this bit of an unbalanced display?
Yes, indeed. It's been very difficult for the Bradford Bulls. Week in, week out, the positional changes and the change of halfback doesn't help the side. Players going back on loan. It was always going to be difficult, even against a side like Swinton, because everything's unbalanced. And today's been no different. They've had no lady luck on their side. But they are making a bit of an effort, the Bradford Bulls. Well, a big effort in actual fact. And if effort alone was enough, then they'd win this game. But unfortunately, it isn't. You've got to score more points than the opposition. Bradford
now then trying to get something going with Ilias McCarney. Ilias McCarney manages to get forward. Joe Keys is absolutely prolapsed. The referee has given a knock on. Mark, Joe Keys has just been smashed right in front of the touch judge. Well, nothing is given. Well, that is absolutely disgusting.
This is like a little bit like a barroom brawl on a Saturday night, and the police are stood doing nothing. The linesman on this side, I can't believe what I've seen from a rugby league linesman. He was stood there and he's done nothing at all. The fear and the lack of composure and lack of ability from the officials today is disgraceful. And it actually this video wants showing to Nigel Wood and his team, because this is absolutely disgraceful. Duty of care has to apply, or you do it the other way. Well, the Tony Fisher way, where you take the law into your own hands and sort it out yourself.
Well, what we see, Mark, is Chris Hankinson, the Swinton centre, is there, Mark. He's got a bit of claret that he's just having wiped from his face. Joe Keys, he was the one who came in and absolutely prolapsed Joe Keys. Joe Keys is up, he's walking about, Mark, but he still looks groggy, a little bit worse for wear from that one. How that has not been picked up. Scrum down, Swinton have got the ball. This referee, Mark, again, like I said in the opening stanzas, Greg Dolan, he hasn't refereed a Bradford Bulls game before in the Championship. And looking at his stats, Mark, I think he'd done 5 games prior to this one. So again,
well who's put him in charge then when he's only done that?
Who knows? Well, Swinton break the line then, and that will see Mike Butt make a great little run for Swinton, get Swinton to the Bradford Bulls 30-metre line, and if it hadn't been for Liam Kirk wrapping him up in the tackle headed by James Bentley, then that could have seen Swinton's cause some more damage. Swinton then will still ask questions of this Bradford defence on this main stand side. That then goes through hands. Joe Keys manages to get an hand in there, and Joe Keys comes up with an error. He knocks on, but he can be forgiven for that. And Joe Keys, Mark, has done the right thing there by knocking the ball away. Yes. Because, Swinton have done it all day long. So, Joe, I applaud you for that. And, OK, if that ball had gone to your hand, Joe, you'd have probably shown a bit of pace and managed to get Bradford on the front foot. But unfortunately, the errors come, Mark, and Swinton will have possession. The score on the Provident scoreboard reads Bradford Bulls 6, the Swinton Lions 12. You're listening to the Big Match live here on BCB 106.6, the home of live sport in Bradford, brought to you in association with Provident. Swinton then will manage to get the ball inside the Bradford 10-metre line. They now fall around about 7 metres shy on this opening set of attacking players. Andy Braychick then goes one way, goes the other. He's wrapped up by Liam Kirk and John Magrin. The referee says held. makes them play the ball. The ball goes one way, and then that will see Swinton held just shy of the line there, as Andy Braycheck thought all his Christmases had come at once with that little crash ball set. James Bentley then getting through some more work there and some extra tackling on Josh Barlow. Swinton will take the ball to the northern stand terrace side, trying to outstretch this Bradford defence again, and that's exactly what has happened as Swinton then crash over on the northern stand terrace side. The fans now, Mark, start to vacate the seats here in the main
I think
stand.
they've seen enough, and I think, quite frankly, last game of the regular season, I think the fans are frustrated more than disappointed, because the referee, the referee didn't cause that try. That was weak defending on the far side of the ground there, because the Swinton player showed his heels from 4 metres out. He should have been smashed into the touchline side. That hasn't happened. But Bradford down to 12 men. They're obviously very tired from all the defending they've done. Very frustrated from the referee's decisions, and just not quite up to it. And wow, I hope the Rugby League do change everything, and Bradford can get some players in and have another go, because that league below beckons, and that is really not what Bradford wants.
Well, I'm just waiting to try and find out who, for confirmation of
I couldn't see. There was a melee of defenders around the Swinton player.
Who scored that try, Mark?
Yeah, and, we'll get confirmation shortly.
Yeah.
Was it Hankinson? I'm not too sure.
Well, I think that it was absolutely Rodri Lloyd, Mark.
Was it Rodri Lloyd?
Rodri Lloyd, yeah. Because it was Rodri Lloyd. He's wearing the 4 shirt on his back, and he manages to post one then. As we wait for the kick will take place, Mark, right over on the far touchline side. That will be struck, and that has missed. So that will see the score on the Provident scoreboard remain Bradford Bulls 6, the Swinton Lions 16, and the 12 men of Bradford, Mark, have certainly been asked a few questions in this second half. They've managed to sort of like repel some of them, Mark, but again, Swinton have just found the opportunity to stretch the Bulls' defence when it's needed. I think, to be fair, we can slate the referee, but I think, to be fair, I think Swinton have wanted it that little bit more. I think they've been a bit more aggressive. Rugby League's about aggression, let's not forget. I think there have been so many interchanges for Bradford. I think the loss of the Bradford player early doors has meant that winning this game is going to be very difficult. And if we're to go any further forward at all in the future, we need some aggressive forwards who can take us upfield, because we just do not make 50 metres with our sets, and until we start doing that, we're not going to beat anybody. Well, we see Swinton then, Mark, on the third tackle. They've actually managed to get from their own sort of like 10-metre line, and they're now encamped on the Bradford 30-metre line. The 30 metres out from the Bradford try line. And again, Mark, 5th and last tackle now. So the referee signals that, and in 5 tackles, that's a drop goal attempt. Is the referee? Nope, he says that one misses. So that will go back to Bradford then to restart the play on the 20-metre line. And Mark, as we've said, Swinton, for all their guile and all their gusto and how they've been a little bit dirty and a little bit cunning in these plays, they've again, Mark, managed to make the yardage against this Bradford team when they've needed to. Well, you can't deny that, Pete. And the thing is you can't blame the referee for that. No, they've not been matched back downfield in Bradford because of penalties. They've been matched back downfield because the Swinton Central Channel has been more physical, more aggressive, and more stronger. Bradford in possession then. James Bentley throws the ball there. The ball goes to ground, but Amari Carroll manages to scramble back and pick it up. Bradford just shy of the halfway line. Again, James Bentley then comes in, beats one, steps back inside. He's still not held. James Bentley still going then, and James Bentley is eventually wrapped up. That should be a penalty, but the referee is going to say knock on. Unbelievable again. Now, I tell you what, Mark, I've seen some things in my times in rugby league, but I've never ever seen anything like this, Mark. This is absolutely unbelievable. It's not the worst refereeing display I've ever seen, but it's certainly one of them. It is one of them, and I don't know how. And he's going to talk to Sam Alice, because Sam Alice is asking him the question. Well, Sam Alice has every right to go and ask him the question there, Mark, because again, Scotty Moore and Sam Alice, I know that Scotty Moore started the game as captain, and I know that Sam Alice took over then when Scotty Moore went off. And Scotty Moore is Sam Alice is absolutely furious here. He needs to be careful because he's remonstrating with the referee, and the referee is telling him to go away. But Mark, how can that be a knock-on? You know, yeah, for everybody inside this crowd here, Mark, I would say just maybe a crowd of just under 3,500 saw that, you know, James Bentley was pinned down in the tackle. He couldn't get up and play the ball. When he looked at the referee to say, come on then, get him off me, the referee blew for a knock-on.
Yeah, unbelievable. I can't actually explain why he's done that because there's no rhyme or reason to it. And the constant penalty against Bradford, for whatever reason, means that they're not getting enough ball in the hands to be able to put pressure on the Swinton line. And at 6 points to 16, with 10 minutes gone, I think it's game over for the Bradford Bulls.
Well, Rodri Lloyd then with the ball for Swinton over on the far northern terrace side. He will then feed the ball to Mike Butt. Mike Butt will make some yards over the halfway line now as Swinton look to build on their scoreline, and that sees Josh Woods take a little bit of a skirry and a little bit of a run. Josh Woods then wanting to get up and play the ball. The ball now goes to Josh Barlow. Josh Barlow throws a bit of a nothing ball, but Colton Roach and Liam Kirk and John Magri managed to wrap up the Liam Carberry there of the Swinton Lions. A little kick goes in. That will go to Brandon Pickersgill. Brandon Pickersgill will pick up the ball quite easy. He'll return that, Mark, towards this advancing Swinton defence. What can Bradford do here? That's a bit of a loose pass that's managed and been well held there by Colton Roach, as Bradford now need to find something. Sam Alice then takes a little bit of a scoot. He will then feed the ball onto Willie Tonga, as Willie Tonga's gone now into the middle of the park looking for some work. Sam Alice feeds Damien Sirinen, who's come back on. Damien Sirinen lets the ball go, and the Swinton players congratulate themselves as the referee gives a knock on. Now what we actually saw there, Mark, was Damien Sirinen looked to offload the pass. As he looked to offload the pass, Sam Alice didn't quite read it right. However, Swinton went in and actually the ball struck the Swinton player. The referee saying he's not played at it, and Sam Alice did end up back with the ball, but the referee says knock on, scrum down, advantage Swinton on the halfway line. And to be honest with you, Mark, with just 9 minutes left to play,
that's good night there, I think.
Yeah.
The problem with the Swinton player, they're jumping up and down there like a kid. Kids at a Christmas party and Father Christmas has just appeared, because they know they're all minding the referee. If this has been orchestrated by Stuart Little and the team, it's very well stage managed. They're a little bit of biff. They're not a tough team at Swinton. There's not a tough man on the field for them. You know, it's just that we're not quite as tough as we should be. Sirinen, though, shouldn't offload the ball on the halfway line when there's nothing on. No. That's the problem. He's a great player, but he needs to learn when to do it and when not to do it.
Well, I can certainly see now, Mark, the last 9 minutes of this one being a bit feisty and a bit tasty.
Yes, I think they will be.
As we see Sean Robinson then take a little scoop from acting half, and Swinton will again ask questions. Luke Waterworth there in at acting half. He feeds Josh Barlow. Josh Barlow, that has got to be a forward pass, and rightly so. As we saw a little bit of an interplay there, Josh Barlow's sort of like now shaking his head and going to the referee. Well, you know, why are you giving the Bradford Bulls that decision? It's quite simple, Josh. You know, you came up with a knock-on and an error. So this will see Bradford get the ball at the scrum, and Bradford now, Mark, really need what I used to call a settling set, Mark. You know, take a bit of fire, take a bit of sting out of the Swinton attack. You know, let's just go back to basics. Let's go maybe 1, 2, 3 drives centre field, and then either look for a kick to the corner or
that should have been
a little run round on the fourth tackle. See where we end up, centre sticks, and see where we go from there.
That should have been done a few more times during the game, and it hasn't been. And you know, I'm looking for words to explain Bradford's performance today, and I would say it's gutsy, but it's disjointed. And there's reasons why it's disjointed, for the many reasons we said during the commentary. Swinton have just come in and played with gusto, and you know, they've all manned the referee. They've tried it out in the first 10 minutes. You can suffer like a teacher at a new school. You know within 10 minutes who's going to be the gaffer, right? And it was Swinton today on the field, not the referee. And you know, but Bradford can't use that excuse too much, because they haven't been able to break the Swinton side down. And again, I repeat it, unless we bring some forwards into this club who breathe fire, eat nails for the breakfast, who can pump through the centre of the channel, belt people hard in the tackle, this club's going nowhere, let me tell you.
Well, Bradford get a penalty then, Mark, at the scrum. The referee pulling Swinton for offside. That will see Corey Aston then kick to touch. Sees Bradford now will get the ball back. They will now start 45 metres away from the Swinton try line. Willie Tonga taps the ball himself. Willie Tonga then manages to make his way over the 40-metre line before he's met by the likes of Chris Amkinson and Liam Forsyth. Bradford then have the possession on the 30-metre line. Second tackle. What can Bradford do here? Sam Allison will go one way. He'll look for runners. It's Corey Aston. Corey Aston then feeds John Magrin. Colton Roach. Colton Roach does a little bit of one, beats two, but he's eventually wrapped up just 15 metres shy of the Swinton try line. Damien Sirenen then will straighten up and run straight. The only way he knows how to do, Mark. Every time he gets the ball, he runs that ball in hard and straight. Sam Allison feeds Corey Aston. Corey Aston to Colton Roach again over on the northern stand terrace side as the tackles are running down here. Fifth and last. Where will this go? Corey Aston puts a little bit of a nothing kick, and that then is lost chance. That will see possession go back to Swinton, and Mark, a poor end to that set.
It was a poor end to that set. It was a nothing end because of the disjointed nature of the Bulls' performance. And Surinam puts a big hit on the Swinton forward, and Polak's in fairly and squarely. And guess what the referee's going to do now? Well, he's going to penalise him, and very, very inconsistent, very, very difficult to play under circumstances like the Raffles had to with the referee like he is. But again, the referee didn't cause that confusion in the Bradford Bulls attacking line. He didn't put in a poor pass. A half-back we haven't gelled today at all.
No,
not
we've not seen nothing, have we? We've
no
not seen
disrespect to Joe Keys and Aston, not at all, one way. The match will have been on the opposition side. Just hasn't worked at all.
Well, we've spoke before, Mark, about, and I played scrum half and I occasionally stand off, where my job was at key times, take that ball to that line.
Yep.
You take that ball to that line and there'll be a second rower that you put through that gap, or a prop forward that you put through that gap. And we haven't seen that today, have we?
Not at
we
all.
haven't seen that today.
It's been difficult. And
it has. It's been an hard day at the office. And again, I'll be interested to see what Mr. Tuvey's got to say in his press conference after this, because Bradford, I've shown again, Mark, that for my liking, they have been well worth a watch today, even though there's only 12 of them on that park. And Damien Sirenen again has stood head and shoulders above several others on there.
Yes, he has.
For wanting to get stuck in.
Yes,
and
he
there
has.
he is again, Mark, on this opening play of this set. As Swinton now look to come back down the field, they managed to make their way towards the Bradford Bulls 40-metre line. And again, Swinton will carry on going through Rodri Lloyd. Rodri Lloyd has certainly made himself busy since he scored his try. Damien Sirenen comes up with another tackle, then helped out by James Bentley. What can Swinton do here? Swinton will manage to encroach into the Bradford Bulls 20 metres. Centre park, brought down by Joe Keys in that tackle. So Swinton put the ball through hands, looking for the little gap, as we see
last tackle
Nick Gregson then wanting to take it forward for his team. The fifth and last tackle sees the ball go into touch from a little kick from sees the ball going to touch from Liam Carberry. The Swinton players are just saying, right, come on lads, let's settle everything down. We don't need to do anything else here apart from settle down, get some air in his lungs, and we've got this. They certainly can't beat us now. There's just over 4 minutes left on the clock. It's going to take a bit of a miracle for Bradford to get back into this game. But Swinton, Mark, again, when it's counted, they've certainly put Bradford to the sword.
I'm afraid they have, and they've wanted it a little bit more. They've been a bit more aggressive. They've all manned the referee. They've got in the face of the Bradford Bulls players, and they've made fewer mistakes than Bradford Bulls. So you've got to say on that score that they deserve to win the game. They've had the help of the referee, so they've had 14 men on the field at most times. But Bradford Bulls have got to learn from this, and it is learning for the Bradford Bulls. And again, I said at the beginning of the commentary, or right at the start of the programme, that the changes the Bradford Bulls have had to endure, players coming and players going, Loney's going back and starting, -12, all the rest goes with it. Did we really expect anything else? Well, no, probably not.
So Bradford then with the ball in hand. Brandon Pickersgill slips the ball through. That will see Corey Aston race away. A little kick over the top from Corey Aston. 2 Bradford players chase this. And that sees Jack Murphy knock the ball dead. Although the referee says no, that's come off a Bradford player. The ball's gone dead. That will hand the ball back to Swinton. Swinton will quickly want to get the ball back into play. The referee says no, let's go back and have that again. And again, Mike Butt is arguing with the referee and slowly but surely walking back now, Mark. This is gamesmanship at its worst for the Swinton Lions. Andy Braycheck then takes the ball. He's wrapped up again by Damien Sirenen and Sam Ellis in the tackle. Damien Sirenen then gets the...
Well, he gets mine as well, quite frankly.
Yeah, he gets the Man of the Match award here at the Provident Hodgson Stadium. Now, the referee's saying that Bradford failed to clear the ruck. Damien Sirenen was still down on the floor there. He was pinned down by Andy Braycheck, so he obviously couldn't move. He's saying to the referee, come on, look, he's not letting him get away. The referee says, no, I'm having none of it. Let's give another penalty to Swinton, has been the order of the day, and that will see Swinton now want to run down the clock. Ben White takes a quick tap to get the play back on the underway here. I'm just in a quick score flash, Mark. The London Broncos have run out 58 points to 4 winners against the Batley Bulldogs.
Great team, London.
So pleased for Andrew Henderson and his team down there.
So great guy, Andrew Henderson. They've done a great job down there. Him and Langers and David Hughes, who pumps money into the club, let us know tomorrow. They'll be a handful in the I can tell you, particularly at home. I can see them doing Lee and possibly even doing Widnes, but we'll see.
So the Evans have opened. Then we've got rain starting to bucket down here at the Provident Hodgson Stadium. The score on the Provident scoreboard reads Bradford Bulls 6, Swinton Lions 16. Swinton kicked the ball into touch. That will be scrum down, head and feed to the Bradford Bulls. We've just under 2 minutes left on the clock, on the Provident clock there, over on the Northern Terrace side.
See what the penalty count is today, Pete.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, Mark, it's going to be quite high, and it's going to be in favour of Swinton without a shadow of a doubt.
Indeed.
Yeah, a shadow of a doubt. And I've not. I know that I was keeping track of it, Mark, but unfortunately, I think there's been that many.
Well, I think it's 15-6 in favour of Swinton, but I may have missed a couple in the frenetic pace of the game. Okay,
so just under 2 minutes left on the clock. Then Bradford with the ball. What can they do here? And again, some innocuous Swinton tackling. We'll see Bradford sort of like pinned down with nothing really to do. Corey Aston getting a bit of a facial. Bradford now in the centre of the park then, and Damien Sirenen will look to offload. It's Scotty Moore. Scotty Moore takes that one behind his head, knocks it back. That will see Swinton come up with a possession, and now all they have to do is run down the clock. Liam Carberry there in with that one, but Swinton come up with a knock on. Bradford quickly run to form the scrum, so the referee will give head and feet to Bradford. He'll stop the clock because the Swinton team are nowhere near ready to even get the scrum. They're not even bothering, Mark. They're again just throwing the ball further back there so that Brandon Pickersgill has to go back and pick that up from 15 metres out. Eventually finds Scotty Moore. The referee's urging Swinton to get on with this, but again, Swinton in nowhere. They know they've got this game won, and just under a minute left on the Provident clock as Bradford trails 16 points to 6 here at the Provident Stadium. Another eye shot goes in then on Willie Tonga, who's shown glimpses on his debut. James Bentley beats one, manages to race away. A little ankle tap there from Jack Murphy brings him down. Bradford steam towards the Swinton 20-metre line. Scotty Moore turns one way, turns the other. Corey Aston then feeds the ball into a Swinton player's hands. And Mark,
Corey Aston's not played well today. He's not got a grip of the game, and not anywhere near as good as his dad, Mark Aston. But that's a separate issue. That's one of the problems. We haven't dominated at half-back all season. Too many changes. But you know, the battling spirit's been there. What Jeff Toohey's doing is starting to come to the fore, but it's, I'm afraid, a little bit too late. No points out today. So with 7 games left in the Shield, 14 points to play for. and Swinton will be on what tonight? 11.
Well, you can hear the hooter go there, and Swinton will take the 2 points here. That will see Swinton sit on 12 points in the division now, and Bradford Bulls remain on 0. Matt, I've got to say, you know, we've covered a few games now over the last few weeks, and for me, that's the best battling performance I've seen today.